Hello. I know it's been a little bit, but I have completed 10 more Boondoggles. So, yeah, I'll just jump into it. So this is the first one that I'm going to show. As usually, going in order of kind of the least complex to the most complex. So this is a hexagon combo that I made with hexagon and twisted hexagon. Now, the story kind of behind this is I've historically been a little bit, I guess, scared of the hexagon stitch. You know, a long time ago, I would try to make hexagon stitches, and they just kind of didn't stay together super well. They were hard to tighten because you've got strands going in so many different directions. So let me real quick try to find. So I would only really do the hexagon stitch like in this boondoggle that I've shown in the past on my channel. Has that much hexagon in it right there. It goes brick, twist, brick, and then like 4 stitches of hexagon, and then back to brick stuff. Or I want to say I have one more in here somewhere. Yeah, here's another one. Here's another hexagon one I've done. And this one, I guess I kind of faced my fears a little bit with it. But anyway, I found somewhere a picture online or a video or something showing a little bit of a different way to do the hexagon stitch so that each strand goes under 2 neighboring strands before coming out the other side, rather than just 1. And it kind of just adds to the stability, and also it adds a little bit to the thickness and the diameter of it. So the top one is the hexagon stitch the old way that I used to do it, whereas the bottom is kind of the new way, and it's just a slight difference. I would have to maybe make another video or something showing the difference between the 2 different varieties of hexagon stitches that there are, but I do definitely prefer this new way. As you can see, this one holds its straight line shape a lot better than this one does. This one's all kind of bent up. But anyway, that's enough about that. Next, I will show this guy. So this was a concept that I saw also somewhere online of making stitches with multiple strands where you would normally just have 1 strand. So this is an 8-stranded project, and I do quad for, I think I did like 10 or 12 stitches, and then I actually did a square stitch but with 2 strands just kind of doubled up in place of where there would normally be 1. And when you do that, it's almost as thick as a quad stitch. And you know, when I first saw the pictures of this concept online, I thought that must be kind of hard to tighten. It's probably not very sturdy. That just looks like a weird idea. But I also wanted to try it, and so I did. And so this is my very first venture into that technique, and I do like it, and I do want to use it more. One thing I do like about it is it's kind of really fast and easy to make stitches that are pretty big and thick. Each stitch, rather than only making your boondoggle that much longer, you know, makes it that much longer or something. And so yeah, so there's that one. Okay, next I guess I'll go ahead and show this guy. So this is a little bit complex looking. This is, let me go ahead and grab this is designed by Jonathan Setbon, and this is the recentered square stitch. And it is done with the circle stitch. So I have his book here that he has gotten published about making lanyards. So doing the recentered square stitch with the recenter stitch with a square stitch causes it to curl like that. Doing it with a circle stitch is what I did right here. That makes a more of what we're used to, a straight lanyard or boondoggle that turns out like this. So, but yeah, this is what it looks like. If you want to learn how to do it, you can either get his book, or you can also look online, I guess, at some of his videos and things that he's done about it. But it's definitely a very unique stitch. It was another new experience for me to make that one. Okay. All right, now I've got this guy. So with this one, I'm going to start off by showing you the end of what the stitch looks like. So I saw Violet, or no, not Violet. Oh, why am I forgetting her name? The woman who runs the Facebook page that I. Oh my goodness, what is her name? I can't remember her name. I've never met her or anything. I've just seen her stuff. But she posted a picture or a video or something of a quad with pentagon corners, a quad stitch with pentagon corners. And so I didn't do that. What I did instead was a quad stitch with just one corner pentagonified. And so that's what this looks like here, if it'll focus. Right there, you can see the top left corner has just one. Eva, that's her name, I think. Eva Torres. Has just one. That top left corner is a pentagon stitch. Rather than it being 4 squares, it's 3 squares, and then there's just one extra strand. And then, but then, I actually didn't have the one corner be the same corner all the way down it. I kind of spiraled around. So as you can see right there, and then right there, and then it just kind of spirals down. And so each time I took that one extra strand and kind of snuck it into the middle, tucked it in, and that's what created this effect. And I'm not honestly really sure why it curved like this, why it ended up curving gradually in that direction. I really don't know why I did that. Okay, now I've got this stitch, or this combo project, I should say. So I'll again show you the bottom. So this is kind of like what I think is kind of like the shape of an hourglass stitch. So I'm not sure how I can get this to focus. There it is. So basically what it is it's 2 of the 2x2x2 triangle stitches, but one of the corners on each one is kind of merged together. So if you were to take, let's see if I can find a 2x2x2 triangle project to show you real quick. Here's one. So this right here, it's like 2 of those fused together, essentially. And it alternates back and forth between that and a quad stitch with the colors arranged like that. So it does have the same number of stitches, or number of strands, as the quad stitch. It's kind of like a quad stitch that has been stretched out, and then you have another like diagonal sideways square stitch just kind of invading the middle there. But I do like how this turned out for sure. This is using a new color that I got as well, this Pearl, I believe it's called, by Rex Lace. And yeah, there's that project. Okay, and so yeah, and these are just getting kind of more and more complex as we go along. So here we have, this is a 9-stranded project. And so first of all, with odd numbered strands projects, there's, depending on the shape of the stitch you're doing, you can start it in a variety of ways. I think that it's really cool to start it in a way that conceals the fact that there's anything, I guess, abnormal going on. So by contrast, I'll show you this. So this is the same 9-stranded triangle stitch. This is a project that I've shown in a previous video, but I didn't do kind of the sneaky starting stitch here. Instead, I just, I believe I tied the 9 strands all in just a big, like, overhand knot, started the boondoggle, and then snipped them all off. So you can just see kind of a stitch, similarly to if I would have not done a finishing stitch at the end here, what that would look like. And so that's kind of the less, I guess, sleek, secretive way to start it. But here you can see what I've done is I actually started a 2x2 triangle stitch, so the 6-stranded one, and then the extra 3 strands I wove them in and then tucked them in through the middle so that it almost looks like they just you know, are just kind of part of the framework of everything. But so that's why it looks kind of like a classic normal starting stitch, even though there's a little bit more going on to hide those extra ends, because it is an odd number of strands. Not only is it an odd total number of strands, each color actually is an odd number, because it's 3 red, 3 purple, and 3 of this kind of tannish yellow color. But at any rate, this alternates between the 9-stranded kind of mega triangle stitch and then this other 9-stranded stitch that's sort of like a fluted columns, that only has 3 kind of points of convergence rather than 4, the 4 that you would normally have. So let me go ahead and show you. If you were to have an entire boondoggle of just that tri-fluted columns stitch, it would look like, I'm so sorry, I should have prepared a little bit better by having all the boondoggles I was going to show in my explanations already out. But here's a whole project of just that 9-stranded stitch. I learned about that stitch's existence on the website scubadoo.eu. And so yeah, that's what this alternator combo is comprised of. Alright, so the last 4 are the ones that took me the longest out of these 10. So it has been a long time since my last video, because some of these are pretty hefty undertakings. But anyway, this continues that same trend of having an odd number of strands, just like this one. So it has an odd total number of strands, and it also has odd numbered amounts of strands. And so what this is it's a 15-stranded super pentagon. So a while back I did a 10-stranded kind of quad pentagon, I guess you could call it. And so this adds 5 more strands to that to make it bigger. And you could, in theory, keep going even bigger and bigger. So the next, I guess, would be a 20-stranded pentagon. And then you could do 25, 30, and you could just keep going bigger and bigger. Not sure how willing I am to continue making bigger versions. But that's what this is. I, again, have done a little bit of a sneaky starting stitch here. This time, it's a little bit less sneaky because you can see what I did. I have outer strands making essentially a quad pentagon, essentially a 10-stranded pentagon stitch, and then I have the 1 extra strand of each color added in, and then I just tucked them all, the other end of each, all into the middle. And then as I did my first probably 6 or 7 or 8 stitches, I continued to have those running down the middle so that they could be kind of strengthened and like locked in place. And so now if I were to, I'm not going to, but if I were to really try to tug one of these out, I'm not sure I could do it. But anyway, so yeah, and as I went down through this, I was getting a little bit bored, so I did a little bit of rearranging with the colors. So I did, like, I believe 20 stitches, and then I did 1 color switching stitch. Then I did 20 stitches, and then I went a little bit crazy for a minute with the colors in the middle here. And then I went back to the color pattern of this section. And then I went back to the standard color pattern for the end. So yeah, this one took a decent amount of time, but I believe it was for sure worth it. And yeah, I always like innovating and coming up with things that I haven't really seen before. All right, this one is a little bit crazy. This is really unique. This I saw on the Scooby-Doo.eu website, and when I saw it, I thought, what? I thought, how does that even work? How would you even do a stitch like that? I didn't believe that it would even be doable. So as you can see, the thing that makes this really unique is that the zigzags are in alternating directions from one another at the same time in different parts of the stitch. So, in other words, a normal zigzag stitch like this is a zigzag fluted columns project right here. All of the zigs are going in the same direction from one another, you know. In this top section, they're all going to the left, and then they all go to the right, and then they all go to the left, and then they all go to the right. Here, they're all going in opposing directions from each other all at once. And so it's two 5x1 walls that meet in the middle with each other. So it's a little bit of an expanded fluted columns. And then they alternate like that. And so kind of the, I guess, secret to this, the instructions, I had to follow the instructions very closely on Scooby-Doo.eu, but the trick to it lies in the fact that right here at this point of convergence, as you can see, there are strands that are, because here's the thing, this is hard to explain. Normally on a boondoggle, okay, this is a normal boondoggle that I just showed. It alternates. It goes a loop and then what would be a protruding strand, and then a loop and then a protruding strand, loop, protruding strand. And it does that all the way around. Okay, same with, right, like this, for example, you know, all the way around the perimeter, you can trace the anatomy of the stitch. Goes a loop, protruding strand, loop, protruding strand, loop, protruding strand. But that pattern isn't exactly followed on this project. If I start here on this white, what would be a white protruding strand if I hadn't snipped it off, here on this top left, it would be a white protruding strand pointing straight up. Then you've got a white loop, then you've got a blue protruding strand, blue loop, blue protruding strand, blue loop, and then immediately after the blue loop is if I keep going around, is a brown loop. Brown protruding strand, brown loop, brown protruding strand, white loop, white protruding strand, brown loop, brown protruding strand, brown loop, brown protruding strand, tan protruding strand, tan loop, tan protruding strand, tan loop. And so that's the way that this is able to work, and how you're able to have two walls twisting in opposite directions at the same time. So this is a very new concept, a very new idea to me. I love how this turned out, how this looks. It just, when I first was in the process of making it and looking at it, I was like, oh my goodness, that is just, it looked so weird to me. And it just looked like impossible, like weirdly impossible to me at first. And I didn't even believe that it would work until I was physically doing it. Because that's just how far-fetched it seemed. All right, I've got two more for you guys. I'll show this one first. Both of these two last ones took very long. This one also took very long, but not quite as much as these two last ones. So here is this. This is a roughly hexagonal structure here. So this is what it looks like right here. So this is the stitch. So what it is it's essentially an 18 strand Star of David made in all brown and tan colors. And then I've added the green and yellow shades as kind of protruding walls in a little bit of a pinwheel pattern. So this took a lot of effort. This took a lot of diligence, I will definitely say. A true starting stitch for this would have been really, really complex. So I instead started with a smaller stitch and worked my way up. So that's how you end up with this little bit of a pyramid at the start here. But yeah, I went as long as I could until I ran out of string. It really took some diligence to get that one done. So let me show you kind of the stepping stone for if you were to make that, what you would want to learn to make first in order for it to make sense. Here it is. I'm sorry, I actually have a lot of these boondoggles attached to each other because I had them all strung up hanging on the walls of my apartment. But so here is that I said 18 strand, but I think it's actually 12. Here's that 12 strand Star of David that I've shown in a previous video. So it's like a hexagon with triangles on each side. So essentially, if you take that and then you stitch a 2x1 wall stitch, coming out of each of one side of each of its little triangles, that's what this is. So here's that. This video is getting a little long, so, and now I will show this one. This was one of the longest, most long haul boondoggle projects I have ever created right here. So what this is it is 16 square stitches that are attached to one another in kind of a lattice type way. So they're all attached to each other through 7x1 walls, starting going up and down, and then I did 2 7x1 wall stitches followed by 6 square stitches on each of the 16 squares going down. So I saw a picture of someone that had done this with a 3x3 grid of square stitches, so 9 square stitches, and I thought I'd try to one up it, and boy did this take a long time. This boondoggle actually took over a year easily. My past 2 or 3 collection videos, my collection videos have been, I don't know, every 4 or 5, 6 months or so, I would say, over the past few years. And there have been the past 2 or 3 collection videos that I've filmed, this boondoggle has been sitting in my room in progress. Just sitting there, and I'm like, well, I've completed 10 more boondoggles without having motivation to to work on this one enough to finish it. But yeah, so this, honestly, I'm super proud of this, that I was able to push through and do this. I calculated the total number of stitches, and I think it was in the 900s, I want to say, that I did. Most of them, or all of them, being either square stitches or 7x1 wall stitches. Most of them square stitches. But yeah, so that took a long time, but here it is. So go ahead and, as always, I will spread these out here. You get a shot of all of them. I'm glad that you've taken the time to watch this. If you actually watched this whole 24-minute video and didn't even skip through, then that's honestly impressive. I don't know why I ramble on so much, but thank you for watching, and bye.